This looks like bread, but it isn't. It doesn't use flour. It doesn't use yeast. It only takes about 5 minutes of work, and it's cooked in a pan. And today in Saladalandia, we're going to try making the easiest bread in the world. But be careful, there's a catch. Will it actually taste good, or will it be like those typical breads that taste like cardboard? Just 3 little things: oats, yogurt, and salt. And you could also substitute that Greek yogurt with egg. Also, I always recommend adding a bit of baking powder, so it gets a little fluffier. Although the important thing is to do it right so it doesn't turn out dry. You can use oat flour, or like me, rolled oats, and grind them up. The typical breakfast ones, yes. Grind them very well until they turn into powder. You'll get a kind of coarse oat flour with an authentic flavor. Now that we have it ground, we have the first ingredient ready. We're going to put it in a large bowl because this is where we'll mix the bread dough. Of course, with plenty of salt so it has that extra touch of flavor. Also, we're going to add a little bit of baking powder. Here they call it baking powder. And mix these dry ingredients so that they're evenly distributed. As I told you at the beginning, this baking powder is optional, but I recommend it because it improves the texture a little bit. And also a Greek yogurt, which has more fat. That's why we want plain Greek yogurt without any flavoring, sweetener, or anything else. Let's add it directly. Some people also make it with egg instead of relying on the fat in this yogurt. But I think it turns out better with yogurt. It makes it more moist. And I think the final texture is superior. I like to keep things simple for myself. I just mix it with a spatula so I can press it down. And let the moisture from the yogurt absorb into the mixture we have with this kind of flour. We're going to gently and calmly keep stirring it, because the texture will gradually become uniform. What you need to be very clear about is that it's going to take us a couple of minutes, but we should do it with care. In the end, we need to get a homogeneous and slightly creamy texture. So you can add more yogurt until you get a slightly paste-like texture. But if you do it little by little, add just a little, because every time you add, the texture changes. Look, I almost have it. The dough has to be a little sticky. Not hard, because then instead of bread, we'll end up with a block of cement. So if you need to add more yogurt, just add it, and that's it. I'm going to cook it in a pan. But as you just saw, I put a little bit of oil in it, and I spread it with a pastry brush. A paper towel would work perfectly as well, because you just want a thin layer of that light oily coating. We cover the pan, and on medium heat, let it heat up for 2 or 3 minutes. Afterwards, we remove the lid, which in my case is from another pot that has nothing to do with this one. But since the size works for me. And we pour the mixture inside. As you can see, it's sticky and pasty. Don't worry, you can use 2 spatulas, a spoon, and if no one is watching you, even your hand. But make sure to wet it a little first, so it's a bit easier and everything doesn't stick to you. Also, make sure it's very clean. You shape it a little bit right in the pan itself. And if you give it a few twists at the end, you'll get a nice round shape on the sides. Look, it's that simple. Then cover it and let it cook. Always on low heat and covered. Although I'm going to add an extra trick, I always like to have an extra crunchy touch in my bread. And that works really well with some seeds. In my case, sesame seeds that I have here. I sprinkle them generously on top. And since the texture is quite pasty, they will stick and stay attached. Then when the bread is cooked, It gets that lightly toasted, crunchy finish. Do you also like toasted seeds? I don't know if I'm just hooked on them or if everyone likes them, but I can never resist. If you cook it at too high a temperature, it browns a lot on the outside and even burns, and it ends up undercooked on the inside. Moment of truth. If it breaks, you already know. Pay attention because it cooks super fast. In 4 or 5 minutes, it will start to brown. I like to leave one side a bit more toasted than the other. So first, I cook it for 4 or 5 minutes, then I flip it over. And another 2 or 3 minutes on the other side. You can see it comes off perfectly, and if you have a steady hand, you can even flip it in the same pan, see? Toasted on one side to give it that flavor. Grilled slightly on one side, barely on the other. Perfect. An ideal bread for breakfast or for a snack. You'll be surprised because I'm sure you're going to make it a lot of times. Take a good look at the inside. You'll see it's moist and soft, not dry at all. Because it's not dry, it's tender. And while I cut it with a bread knife and show you the inside, which you already know is the most important thing for me, I'm going to ask you a little question. Did you expect it to cook in just 5 or 6 minutes? Incredible, and it also comes out ready to enjoy. Boom! Let's see, I'm gonna be brutally honest. Complete honesty. This isn't bread, it's not bakery bread. But hey, for a sandwich, some pieces to fill, or breakfast, it's pretty good. Actually, I'm cooking something addictive. If you cut it in half and fill it, you can make yourself a truly luxurious sandwich. But also keep this idea in mind. Spread something sweet on it and it will take things up a notch. Now it's your turn. Would you call this bread or...
Oh no.
Let me know down in the comments. And let's see if we can clear up any doubts.